So recently I watched a video from one of the most popular AI YouTubers and noticed one thing that most of you will probably not like. So let me explain. In this video, he was laying out top 5 workflows and AI systems that businesses are actually buying right now that you can sell. And there's nothing wrong with it. But the funny thing is, out of these 5 workflows, only one is somewhat somehow related to the Claude Code and all this new cool AI tools that you guys are learning and that he's teaching. So in this video, I want to go over his list and comment on that as an active agency owner who is selling AI solutions full-time, who is having a startup in the industry. That is, by the way, very much related to the workflows that he's showing in the video. And I do have a track record of the businesses that are using our solutions on my YouTube channel, so you can check out the case studies. Now, this YouTuber is Nate Herc. A quick disclaimer before we start watching his video. Nate is great educator. I've been subscribed to Nate probably from 10,000 subs. I remember when he was starting. And the comments that I'm going to be making is not necessarily applied to Nate and to the people who are watching Nate, but rather to those of you guys who are watching all of these Claude Code, build this, X, Y, and Z, learning all these tools and getting stuck in this infinite loop of learning new tools, systems, workflows, and different, possibilities that are getting opened every day. Because Nate is not positioning himself as someone that is teaching you workflows that you can necessarily sell, because a lot of his content is information/news driven that the actual businesses can use themselves. And again, this is awesome. But the thing is that when you are trying to learn the workflows that deliver the actual value, regardless if you are a business owner who is looking to start using AI solutions and get into the game of the automations and trying to understand what would be the first step, or if you're an agency owner that is looking to upsell these solutions to your clients. This video overlays very clearly what you need to focus on. So let's watch it together. Before we do that, let me pull up my headphones and let's start.
After building hundreds of AI workflows for real clients and teaching thousands to do the same, I noticed something weird, which is that most people online are building the fancy stuff, but businesses don't actually want that. They just want 5 types of automations, and these are simple, boring workflows. They're things that genuinely save time, save money, or remove mistakes. And these 5 automations are the ones that clients will pay the most for. So in this video, I'll show you what they are, why they sell, and how you can build.
Yes, so he is exactly right. Most of the people are building fancy shit that no one wants. But kind of the contradictor here a little bit to call out Nate is that he's also teaching all of these fancy things. But again, like, Nate is positioned as an informational creator, so I don't have any problems with that. But most of the people that are teaching you the Claude Code are also positioning it as, hey, look at this new Claude Code build that you can sell to your clients and you can learn on my YouTube channel, which is a bullshit. So let's see why.
Can build and sell them too. But before we jump into the first one, let me show you how I figured all this out. I've worked with coaches, real estate agents, dentists, HVAC.
Okay, let's skip that.
The moment someone submits a form, the automation kicks in 5 minutes. You're up to 10 times more likely to query or calls a business. There's a clock that is showing. So let's get into the first workflow. So this one is speed delete. And honestly, it might be the single easiest automation to sell to any service-based business. So here's what it is. When someone fills out a form on a website, sends an inquiry, or calls a business, there's a clock that immediately starts ticking. And the faster that the business responds, the more likely they are to close that deal. Studies show if you respond to a lead within 5 minutes, you're up to 10 times more likely to convert them compared to responding.
Guess what? The first one is the speed to lead. Have you guys heard about speed to lead? Yeah, of course. Of course you have. Have you built any? I don't know. You tell me. Speed to lead has nothing to do with the new Claude Code update, with the new anti-gravity workflow system that you can build, with a new model that is getting released, with the ChatGPT agent builder that everyone already forgot, but people were excited about like 3 months ago. This is the workflow, the speed to lead using the AI setters is something that we've been building for the past 3 years, okay? And it was good enough already like 2 years back where it could do everything perfectly. So you don't need any of these new tools to build something like this.
Responding even 30 minutes later. And yet, the average business takes 47 hours to respond to a new lead, which is 2 full days. By that point, the prospect has already talked to 3 of your competitors, or they reached out to you, or maybe they've just solved the problem already themselves. So a speed to lead system fixes that gap completely. The moment someone submits a form, the automation kicks in, it captures the lead info, it qualifies them based on criteria like budget, location, service type, whatever, and then it routes.
Yeah, so the standard speed to lead, okay? So nothing fancy, no new tool that you need to learn. You can just start building it using the Go High Level, N8N, probably Twilio, Open Router, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that you need to know to build this workflow. Or you can actually get the open source version of our appointment setter that can do the speed to lead engagement nurturing through voice and text and sell it to your clients. The link in the description. Currently, we are on the wait list. Again, it is free, so check it out.
Close rate goes from 12% to 25%, which is conservative. So they're getting 13 extra patients a month for the exact same amount of ad spend. And the key is when you can walk a business owner through that exact math using their data, price objections will disappear. Because at that point, if they really think about it, the expensive decision is to ignore you and just not hire you. All right, so now that you understand that first one, the second one's gonna make more sense. And this is probably the least exciting automation on the list, but it's also one of the most profitable, and that is document processing. So first, let me just paint you a picture. Imagine you're an accountant and it's Monday morning, so you've got 200 invoices sitting on your inbox from last week, and your job for the next several hours is just open.
Now, the document processing is something that has a lot of value. I would actually argue by putting it on the 4th, 5th spot, because this is more like an internal automation that is super specific to the different type of the industries, and that needs to be that needs to be highly personalized to each and every use case. So it's harder to replicate this into multiple, clients. Plus, again, you need to understand the industry very well. But speaking of the Claude Code, this is something that you would easily build on Claude Code or Lovable and then pare it down with the N8N on the backend to process. Because what you essentially need the interface that the business will interact with, where they will either upload all of their documents, or on the backend it's going to be connected, let's say, to the Gmail and extract all of the documents, pull it into the interface. Here is going to be processed and then give you the result that you're looking at. So yes, in order to build this workflow, you better know at least the Claude Code and all the tools that will make the job much easier. Because if you would build something like this a year ago, you would need to have a pretty okay-ish knowledge with relates to N8N and Lovable and the front-end connection with the backend, but right now you can build it in a few clicks with Lovable. So kudos to the Claude Code here, because this is exactly the use case for it.
To open each one, read it, pull out the vendor name, the amount, the date, the line item, the vendor, the
Let's
amount,
skip.
the date, or you even factor in things like human errors, because those cost the business money as well. And the cool thing about document processing automations is that a lot of times you don't even
Let's go to the next
so
one.
before I get into this next one, I need you to understand something. I'm about to cover 2 workflows back to back that sound pretty similar on the surface, which are follow-up sequences and database reactivation, but they solve different problems. Follow-up is about leads who just came in and need more touch points to actually convert, and reactivation is about leads that you forgot existed, 6 months ago.
Yeah, look, if this is the first time being on my YouTube channel, you can actually check out the previous videos where I almost exclusively talk about the follow-ups, reactivation, speed to lead, and everything related to the setting appointments with the leads that you or your clients generate, or the sales reps that sit in the middle of the funnel. Again, this has nothing to do with all the shit that is getting posted on YouTube every day, right? If you go to my feed, you will see there are a ton of people that are, spinning the different videos about all these new cool tools. But again, the reality is right now, what we saw, 1st, 3rd, and 4th workflows can easily be built using the tools like Go High Level, Twilio, N8N, Open Router for the modal connection. So let's keep watching.
They're two different situations, they're two different systems, but they are both extremely profitable. So pay attention to the distinction because it does matter. All right, so follow up and nurture sequences first. This ties directly into speed to lead because getting the lead fast is only half the battle. What happens after that first touch point is where businesses also, once again, drop the ball because most businesses spend a ton of money acquiring leads. They get someone interested, maybe they fill out a form or book a call or attend a webinar or something like that, and then the business follows up with them once, maybe twice, and then they move on. Meanwhile, the prospect.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even about following up once or twice, but rather just automating the entire process, because this is where the use case for our one prompt setters primarily lays, because most of our clients are the lead gen agencies. So we are not necessarily targeting the business owners themselves who are generating leads, but rather the lead gen agencies that are generating the leads for the businesses and use our open source setters to set appointments with these leads. So of course, there is first step, which is the speed to lead. Then once their lead is replying, you are doing the nurturing and qualification, and then third, you are booking an appointment. Now, this can be done through both text and voice. This doesn't matter. But the fourth step, which of course a lot of agencies miss because they primarily, if they do have the setting in their package of services, so if they're not just generating leads, but also setting appointments for the businesses that they work with, are missing is the actual lead reactivation. And the reason why they're missing it is because it's just not efficient for a human setter. Let's say a lead gen agency is working with a human to set appointments with, a setter that is calling all the leads, or maybe they're working with a call center that is actually doing the setting function. So when they set an appointment with the people who got not set, they're just sitting in the CRM as that, because usually, again, it's going to be harder for the humans to reach out to all of these people manually, and there's no process to automating it. But when you are using the AI setters, now you can, have the entire workflow from the speed to lead to the engagement, nurturing, qualification, and the booking. But the people who are not getting booked, you can add to a separate workflow that will wait for, let's say, a few months, and then check if the lead has been converted. Maybe if you have a direct integration with a go high level, so you can check for a tag or pipeline status. So if it has not been changed, then you would reach out to this lead and say, hey, we've talked with you a few months back. Are you still interested?
Prospect just needed one more touch point before they were ready to actually buy something. Research shows that 80% of sales require at least 5 follow-ups, but most salespeople just stop after 1 or 2. And here's the thing that kills me: that person has already.
Yeah, so I think you got the idea. Then he's talking about the database activation. So let's actually find the fifth workflow. Now, here's the fifth one.
Last one, and I saved this one for the end because it might be one of the most underrated automations on the entire list, which is internal reporting and status notifications. It doesn't sound too sexy at all, but it's one of the stickiest automations that you can sell, because once a business has it and is using it, they literally could not imagine going back to life without it. Same way that you and I would feel if we lost our favorite AI productivity tools, we would feel super slow.
Yeah, so this is what I was referring to when I was saying that one of these workflows is actually somewhat related to the Claude Code that you can build on top of the Claude Code or any of these new tools. Now, the second one, the document processing, is, again, as I said, is also somewhat related. But this one I wouldn't even put on the tier list because it's so vague. It doesn't have a specific definition of a problem for a specific industry. Because when you're talking about the speed to lead, reactivation, or the follow-up, nurturing, engagement, qualification, you have a clear ROI and you understand the business type who is looking for that. But when we're talking about the internal dashboard and notification, whatever it is,
you and I would feel if we lost our favorite AI productivity tools, we would feel super slow. Every business has people spending hours compiling information that the other people need to make decisions. So sales managers pulling weekly pipeline numbers, agency owners compiling client KPI reports, the automation space, because I realized how much time can truly be saved. So an internal reporting automation can handle stuff like this in the background because it can pull data from different systems, it can run the analysis, and it can just basically notify the team where they would have gotten that already. This could be a daily Slack message with yesterday's sales numbers. It could be a weekly email with the client performance metrics. It could be an automatic notification when a deal hits a certain stage or if a project falls behind schedule. The system runs on its own, it pulls real-time data, and it puts it.
Yeah, now I do have kind of my own opinion on all of these internal workflows, just primarily based on what I see and how the industry is actually evolving. And the thesis that I have is pretty simple. Most of these workflows are going to be covered by the softwares that all of these businesses are using, within the next 1 to 2 years. So you don't really have a leverage when it comes to building something like this over and over for the businesses and building an agency around it. Because yes, you can sell it the one-off solution for a client you're getting, but let's say if the business is, using something like a HubSpot, the HubSpot is going to send you the weekly emails with the summary of your, current pipeline with all the messages that you're getting. Now, of course, it's not that great. Right now, you can have the internal reporting tool that will pull the information from all the resources, from the project management software, from the ClickUp, from the Asana, and combine it all together. But all of them are eventually going to implement this feature by themselves. Of course, there will be still use cases that you can sell, but I just don't think that this is something that you can realistically rely on long term. That's pretty much it. Now, the point of me making this video was to show you that you don't need to learn any new tools besides what you already know to start making money in the industry and start actually implementing something that deliver the real value to the businesses. Because the new Claude Code or Claude whatever shit is update is not gonna help you to reach to this monetary goal that you have set to yourself. Because if you're trying to be a developer in the industry and find a high-paying job, of course, you probably need to know all of these tools. You need to be very well versed with all the different frameworks and all the different possibilities. But for most of you who are agency and business owners, this is not going to be useful. So don't waste your time on learning new things, please. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.